Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Cool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News, deep dives, and creation. AITV Starship. Learn, laugh, innovation. AITV Star, human amplified. Catch the spark, ride the wave. Future's on our side. We got experts talking truth in the stream. Dreaming bigger, living stronger, building a dream. From therapy bots to AGI talk. We ask the hard questions while we walk the walk. Yeah, I'm the voice of the folks at home. If Rick's too deep, I bring it down to the bone. AITV Starship. News, deep dives, and creation. AITV Starship.
This episode, we're already doing a rebrand. I love it.
Because we're dangerous men, Brandon. That's it. You got to do that. Welcome. We're here. We're live.
Ask not what I can do for you,
Yeah, don't ask.
but what you can do with AI. We're the dangerous people who get stuff done.
I love the Suno sax solo
Show
that
you
comes
you
up
can
here.
too.
So this is Suno 5. We're going to talk about that in a couple weeks, but check
With
this
you,
out.
we can make it come true.
Woo, that's good.
So I am Brandon, the producer. That is Rick McCauley, the AI guy, a dangerous man at 65. We are live with you.
Yes, we
Thursday
are.
night
Yes, we are.
TV.
And thanks to Brandon, we have a beautiful new piece of music. And thanks to me, we got a new logo and a new look. Yeah, it hasn't been but 4 episodes so far. So tonight's number 5. And if you count that
we're
free
getting
show thing we did. But
dull with the other stuff, so we have to spice it up. But I really like what we've come up with here. I don't know if you want to tell the folks at home about this.
yeah, so basically, we were AI TV just like that. But I'd taken a look at this, and the original idea was that Steve Jobs said that a computer was a bicycle for the mind. Well, I mean, AI is beyond, a basic computer. And we've gotten so used to that, we just take it for granted. But it's like you got a rocket ship. And there's a couple of metaphors I really like. And, of course, I love myself a good metaphor, right? But this idea that we are stardust and that we are going to be star travelers. And I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. So why not have a starship instead of just a rocket ship? So what we've done is kind of put together a rocket ship, and it's our North Star that we're pointing at. We want to do things good for the world. We want to add some value, some humor, have some fun, and teach people about stuff. So, this is our new brand, and we're going to get it animated.
It has nothing to do with the fact that Starship has the letters AI in it. That's just a coinkydink right there.
That's true. Yeah. In fact, I tried to line it up so the A stood on top of the I, and I was going to change the color. Just wasn't able to quite get there. I might give it to my students and see what they could do. It takes quite a bit to. It's actually really interesting. And the other thing is, I got to get a new outfit. I got to put a smile on my face. I think I moved with Photoshop. I moved the corners of my mouth up just a little bit, but it's still not. I'm looking like a dangerous old man. So tonight I am Rick, the AI guy, and I'm going to be Rick, the AI guy. The Rick, the dangerous man, is at 65. Is going to be turning 66 this month, October 25th. Happy birthday to me. Some people have already sent me happy birthdays. I'm not sure what Facebook's got going on, but they got my dates. But it's always nice. So, but we're launching and getting a lot more serious about it. So we've got 2 episodes already. In fact, you'll take a look at it tonight. We've got the episode that we dropped last week about Google Notebook LM, which, if I say so myself, was pretty good. What do you think, Brandon? Did it do all right?
Yeah,
So-
I used Notebook LM, and I'm always amazed how just hearing it from a different perspective can oftentimes lead to new and unexpected things.
And that's kind of the hope, right? So We try to bring you a new person each time. Next week, we're going to be meeting with a chef, so that should be fun. And in the past episodes, the Notebook one, I compared Notebook LM to sort of the Library of Alexandria. And if you don't know the story, all the ships that went in and out of that port were basically they took the stuff off of it and stole it many times and had scribes copy them. It was like they had Napster back in the 1100s or something, right? Or before that, Roman times. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of cool. So the idea though that you could create your own large language model, basically it can ingest a couple of hundred Harry Potters, and then you can query it, or all of Socrates, or every single philosopher throughout history. So I have a philosophy professor who's doing that. And last week, if you haven't caught it yet, these are now separate little snippet episodes that you can go watch, 30 minutes each. We did that one so far, and then we're doing ChatGPT tonight live. So you're going to see how we make the sausage here. Hopefully, it turns out okay. I typically am going to record them on Sunday, so I have all my notes. But I've spent some time, and I've kind of walked through. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at the news, and then also we want to put with each one of these documents as we put them into my YouTube channel. This is a little secret inside, don't tell anybody, but we are creating an AITV Starship YouTube channel all by itself with a companion website. So the goal is that you watch a show, and you know how shows are, even a class you go to, you forget, what did I learn? You want a takeaway, right? So all these PDFs that you see with this beautiful artwork that I spend hours and hours, I was up to 4 last night just kind of making this stuff. Yeah, that's going to be there so that you go back and you have clickable links even. So if you want to go to ChatGPT, like in this one, that the link at the bottom there would take you to the website for this live show that you're watching right now. But every document, if it's got a Notebook LM on copyright law, which we covered last week, you can go in there and play around with the actual documents that I put together. And then you can ask your own questions of that information. So we're all about sharing and caring and kind of finding some good experts. If you want to be an expert, come on the show. We're looking for maybe a musician. What other kind of things might we like to have, Brandon?
Anybody who's playing with AI creatively or for business, we are on the bleeding edge of this. So it really just
Could say
depends
that
on
again.
what you want to use AI for. How are you using AI? And how
That's it.
can we help make AI work better for you and for our audience?
Yeah, that's my ask, right? Like to kind of semi quote Kennedy, ask not what AI can do for you, but what you can do with AI. And it's time to let go of some of the fears. They're all valid, and I'm more than happy to have conversations. But it's literally happening so fast. In fact, today we're going to talk about job loss and things like that. How much faster it's happening than anybody expected. It's really, in fact, on the way down, I went to Alpha School. Speaking of next couple of weeks, in 2 weeks, I'm getting educators from Alpha School. And if you haven't heard of this, it's an AI-based school, and it's in Miami. It just opened up last year. They only had 6 students, but they're all over the world. There's 43 of them, I think. And the creator, basically, it's 2 hours of AI in the afternoon. And all day you do applications of what you learned before. The teachers are called guides. And it really aligns with my whole philosophy that your job is to create a journey, like an experience. You're Gandalf on the side, and you hand the ring to Frodo and said, go put it in Mount Doom, right? But in their case, it's a little bit lighter things like go get a job or something, right? When you get out of your parents' house, when you get to the old enough, right? So we want to prepare them for tomorrow's world, and AI is where it's at. So I think every educational facility, and we're some of the slowest because, teaching has been a Socratic method for so long, where you just kind of have a sage on the stage. And while everybody has shifted, flipped the classroom, you might have heard from the Khan Academy idea that you watch videos and then you come in and you learn something where you apply it, right? Their whole thing is they actually have a currency they call the Academy currency. So you can buy things, and how you earn it is by doing projects and doing things you're supposed to do. So it's like getting allowance, and then you spend it, and you can ask for credit. I mean, it was just kind of fascinating because everything applies. I mean, it's kindergarten through 12th grade, so it's K through 12. So it's a pretty cool place. So we'll try to get them to come in and explain what this whole theory is, and it's
And
racing
it's
across.
accredited. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, they're in the top 2% in SAT scores. I mean,
Wow.
they literally they called it 2xing whatever education you did elsewhere. We 2x.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
it's pretty easy to be inside of the top 2% of SAT scores when AI is doing the homework for you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. They don't. That's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing.
No, it's not what they're doing. In fact, don't say that when she's on because yeah, it's a tough thing to
Well,
be an
and,
educator
and I'm
in this case.
sure, it's a topic that they have to address. Like, it's a topic that they have to get out ahead of.
Yeah,
Um, and so I am exponentially curious to see how they handle that objection, not only from prospective parents, but from co-educators and
yeah.
co-facilitators.
Well, and
They got a good
that's the
pamphlet.
thing. Yeah, I mean, they're worldwide. I mean, they are very serious and extremely good.
Yeah.
I was there for 2.5 hours. I wish my kids could go there. I really do. They went to this school that was a charter school. In fact, when my daughter was born, I literally from the room where she was born in, I called up to get her name on the list to go to Nova schools. So Nova Southeastern University had
Wow.
this sort of 20 years ago. They created this experimental school where they tried new innovative techniques, and then it grew to be just a monumentally perfect place. And both my kids got the best education in America you could get because of it. And it was is a public school. So on top of that, we didn't pay anything for it. This one is a little bit of money, but it's reasonable if you want the best education. And what they use it for is like you would expect as a tutor. In fact, there's a couple of people who've compared the idea. Imagine you were a king, right? And you could hire Socrates and whatever. You could hire the best educators to literally all day feed your kid the best education. AI is that in your pocket, if you use it right. And the school was extremely explicit. They have their own AI model. Each individual student has a customized for them. So if you're on the autistic spectrum, there was a student who had dyslexia and so needed accommodations. And the AI made the accommodations. So there was no differentiation that the educator had to do.
Wow. That's
And they didn't
amazing.
get pushed off to the side, as happens in many schools. If you're on the autistic spectrum, you get put with other kids that are there or any disabilities at all. This is all mainstreamed so that everybody gets on a level playing field. It was beautiful. I was almost in tears. And I'm not, I'm an educator of 25 years. And of course, I got some of the best education you can imagine, and some of the worst too. I know what the difference is. Um, and I'm trying to be that best educator because I've been inspired all my life by other people that do it. But anyway, so that's an upcoming thing. If you want to come talk to us, just slip us a line. You can find me at rickmccauley@gmail.com. So if you could spell my name right, add a gmail.com on there. Contact me if you want to come on the show, especially looking for people that are doing really big, beautiful things using artificial intelligence so we can share it with the world. All right, you ready to get started on our
Yeah.
show?
So speaking of things that are happening in the world, let's get to news.
Okay, so I've set this up with a couple of slides there. You want me to advance it here? Okay. I set it up with a couple of slides. This is the one because I'm about to scare the hell out of you. So I figure I'd start with this one. So we had a conversation. Take a look on my YouTube channel. John and I had this conversation on his, what is it, Mojo? What's the name of his podcast? Video Mojo show. So John and I had this amazing conversation. Oh, there we go. Hey, how you doing? A great conversation, and it really, and so it's on my channel as well. So I've copied and pasted it, and then we were talking about, how do you get people over their fears? So you fears are hallucination, bias, and cheating. as I educate educators, that's the number that's top of mind for them, right? And hallucinations are pretty much resolved to a point where I would suggest the only hallucinators left are human beings. In fact, every time I've had a recent hallucination is because I said something to the AI that it memorized and spit it back to me. I said, I won a Pulitzer Prize. Well, officially, the Miami Herald won a public service Pulitzer Prize. So to claim that I won it. So I was writing a little brief bio for myself and I said, make me a short bio so they can introduce me. And it said, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer. I said, no, I'm not. But because I said it, it expected me to have the grounded truth that I believe in. And because I made that mistake, even there was a character called Lisa that I changed to Laura in one of my books. And all of a sudden, months later, all of a sudden, every instance was the old name. So there are still things to be fixed. Nothing's perfect. But oh my God, the stuff that you can do, including this image right here. Holy cow. Do you remember the days with 57 fingers and all kinds of other stuff? In fact, I just realized when I was watching back my show, I say holy cow a lot. I got to find a new phrase.
Yep. And we've got our artist in residence here.
All right.
This is Noah. He's made songs. He's made images.
I know.
You
Are you named after Noah's Ark?
He wanted, yeah, he is. He wanted to say hi to everybody before
Hi,
he
everybody.
shut it off.
Can you say
powered down
hi,
for bed.
AITV?
Can you say hi, AITV?
Hi, AITV.
Starship.
Can you say Starship?
Starship.
There you go. All right,
There
go
you
eat your
go.
ice cream.
Oh, how cute. Oh, my God, how adorable.
All right, well, then go read your story, your AI-generated story, because it's almost time for you to power down for the night.
Did you make it in Google? In the storybook? Is that how you did it, Noah?
He is always making new things.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have a song about monster trucks, too, don't we?
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're going to do a Suno night in a few weeks, and then we
Yeah.
can do your songs, okay?
Awesome. I look forward to it.
All right,
Can't wait to hear
say
your
goodnight
songs.
to Rick.
Good night, night.
When is it Suno night? In a couple weeks. Can you say
Sweet dreams.
Yeah? Can you say goodnight to the AI guy? His
Good
name's
night.
Rick. Can you say goodnight,
Good
Rick?
night, guy. Good night, Noah. Oh, how adorable. I miss those days, right? So my mantra is the way is to learn, adapt, and innovate. Learn what it is. And that's hopefully what we're going to do is take some of the things. So last week, if you caught our last performance, it was about Google Notebook. And we talked about copyright law. And here's the illustration that I did in ideogram, by the way. And I'll show you tonight. So we're going to go deep dive into ChatGPT. And I'm going to talk about flows. So we're going to have a flow show coming up very soon. It'll be a weekend workshop. And I'll show you everything that I do in basically an online 4-hour weekend workshop. You can come be a part of that. And then we'll turn it into like just a 20, 30-minute synopsis of what all we did, little snippets from the projects that we do. So I'll show you how every single day I create 3 infographics or illustrations that go with the stories I do. So this was a story about Taylor Swift owning back all of her copyright. And in the background, you've got what was Prince with a purple guitar. Again, it's not perfect quite yet. And how that kind of changed everything. So, yeah, so here you go. And that's the illustration that I did. There's probably 70 different images generated. Well, it goes in 4. So, 80 images total that I did till I got this one. And then I photoshopped it a little bit, kind of tweaked it. This is not one that I would typically take them into Crea and upres them, but I didn't do that. Well, what I brought the slide for is if you right now point your phone at this, it will take you into the copyright room in Google Notebook LM, and you can create your own podcast, and you can go in there and take a look at the ones I've already created. And there's I think there was 67 source content things like videos and copyright law. Take a look in particular. I think it'd be useful if you're interested in deep diving on copyright. That's the place to go. I have over 400 of these rooms. So I'm going to be in the future sharing a lot of them. In fact, here's one right here. So this is about Palantir, and this is our first story. Now, I want to warn everybody: get your kids into bed and close their ears, because this is not even good for you to hear about. So, if you're not familiar with Palantir, it is the United States government's corporation that they pay. It's a for-profit. Peter Thiel is the owner of this corporation. He's best buddies with Elon Musk and Mr. Trump, President Trump, and
And a close advisor and dear friend to Mr. Altman, according to Sam.
okay. So his quote down at the bottom: "I no longer believe freedom and democracy are compatible." He belongs to what's called the Dark Enlightenment, which is a sort of they're following the idea that capitalism is the thing and that kings need to rise again. And if you don't know the word Palantir, this image should kind of give you a hint. It's from Lord of the Rings. The Palantir are the stones that the Eye of Sauron came from. It's the all-seeing stones. So this is a surveillance company in America who has just recently, and this was on the news today. In fact, it was this morning I was listening to Paul Reiser on his show. What's the show called, Brandon?
The AI Marketing Institute?
Yeah, that's it. So they have their
Or
Maycom coming
Macon?
up, and
Yeah.
in Cleveland. That's like a
Yeah.
couple of weeks away, right?
Yeah, it's mid-October, and it's right down the street from the production studio here.
Are you going to get a chance to go?
I'm going to try.
If you
working on
don't,
it.
we're going to make also a booklet of all of the best people to follow. Absolutely, Paul Reitzer's the one. So this morning he had this little piece, and I went ahead and took a look at it. Let me see. Oops. Okay, how do I get this to play the video?
That's one thing we can't do with the slides loaded here, so you'll need to switch it
okay.
out.
So
if we
this is
want
a
to
video
have
that runs, and yeah, so we got to do that. Okay, all right. So to give you an idea of what they have been doing with surveillance, the United States government, ordered by Donald Trump last week, is creating a dossier on every U.S. citizen, everything about you. He also used Palantir, the company, to go find where, through social media, all the immigrants who were, under their estimation, illegally here, many of them actually not, because they found the wrong people sometimes, wrong names, etc. So we have a federal government entity that your taxpayers' monies are doing and looking at, and they're finding people that are saying and doing things against the government, including the most egregious crime recently, which was to tell the New York Times to everybody else, if you want access to Donald Trump, you can't say anything bad about him. Now, thank God that we had, what's his name, Jimmy Fallon, get back on the air. Thank God. Thank you, ABC.
Jimmy Kimmel. Mhm.
Jimmy Kimmel. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Jimmy Kimmel get back on the air. And if you haven't watched that, you have to. As a U.S. citizen, it is, oh my God. I mean, everybody, Stephen Colbert and all of them have ganged together, because what's really odd to me, I was a real live Miami Herald journalist, probably one of the most top 3 decorated newspapers in the United States. And I lived there and worked there at the Miami Herald for 15 years as a photojournalist. We won appeals for our public service about Hurricane Andrew. And that's why you have the safety laws and hurricanes, and why you can take your pets into centers if you're going to a shelter, because of what the Miami Herald did. We were the fourth estate. We were the standing wall against everything else. And today it's 1/10 the size. There's no building
they are
anymore.
still doing, in spite of the beleaguered numbers, they are still doing groundbreaking journalism over there, like what has happened with the alligator Alcatraz folks, who have just kind of vanished into thin air.
Well, and
I've
you
been
know why?
personally looking for ways to figure out how to use AI to keep track of those folks.
You know why the alligator Alcatraz? Because they gave that land to the Miccosukee, because they owned that land. So they borrowed it to create little kind of things out in the middle. I mean, this is swampland, folks. Nobody wants this. But so the Miccosukee then went in and sued the federal government for building this temporary facility, which is the same as the one. I won't get into this today. We'll do one on journalism, I swear to you, and I'll show you just the stuff. Chrome detention camp. When the Cubans all immigrated in the giant boat lift, not back in 1978, I was there photographing them. And as a Cuban landed on our soil, there was a wet foot, dry foot. The same distance away in Haiti is when those people came from Haiti. If they stepped foot, they'd get arrested and shipped back home. And so, and they were drowned, hundreds and thousands drowned. And in one incident that was kind of world famous, there were 13 bodies that drowned on Palm Beach. I mean, the richest piece of real estate in all of Florida. And, dead bodies going up on shore. The survivors were then put into a detention camp. And I'm not making this up. Yeah, this is something for another time because we got a lot of darkness here. I'm gonna save it for another time. But let me tell you, we're going to do a deep dive on that. But the basic thing is, people are losing their jobs. So one thing I put a lot of images in here, and a lot of them are very dark. I promise we're going to go to a happy place after this, but I want to start because what I found myself asking myself, and this is going to be the subject for tonight's show, is so when I was listening to those shows that Brandon, you and I were talking about with Paul Rotzer and stuff, he was talking about how Claude, Anthropic, is and other companies there. Claude is now merging with Microsoft, so your Copilot's going to have Claude in it. And they're
I
making
swear,
agents.
can I just say Microsoft is just partnering with anybody who has an AI tech stack at this point.
Because
they are
quite
getting
frankly,
around.
Theirs suck. I tried to make a PowerPoint presentation. I spent 15 hours just trying to get a deck of 20 slides. I did these in Manus, by the way, in less than 10 minutes as I was having coffee, right? Or not coffee, soda. But anyway, so I fed into, this is my normal working thing to give you an idea of why I want to do this. So anyway, Claude is making code that creates agents. And then there's another company that's hiring doctors, lawyers, anybody that has high-end skills to basically go in there, and they're spending $1 million a day to have them show what they do at work. So if your taxes are being done by, your tax software, right? TurboTax. But they're basically going in every single job at every direction and creating bots and stringing them together. So you're one person, you literally will have at your disposal these bots, and they're spending $2 billion this year to make them. So they're working with code within Claude, and that's what this illustration is about. So the way I get to my illustrations is I'll find something, and this morning it was Paul Rotzer. So copy and paste the URL right from the YouTube channel. I go over to Notebook LM, or I'll go to another application. I'm trying to remember what's it called. Turbo Learn. Turbo Learn is used by MIT. It's used by everybody everywhere. Copy and paste it in there. It gives you a PDF. Really, really beautiful notes. I fed that PDF into ChatGPT and I said, make me, I wanted the top 4 stories, the one about Claude coding, and one about other companies that are coding, the layoff of 30,000 people who are coders, the very coders that then, so then I fed that in there. And when it's finished giving me a script for tonight's episode, which we're not reading, but it was kind of fun to do it. But I wanted to read to make sure I got my facts straight, so I wasn't kind of spewing off the top of my head. But then I said, make me images in the style of Shepard Fairey and Russian constructivism. So now if you know that, and you know that what I did is I said, this is what it came up with. And I don't know what those words are. I'm positive those are not real Russian words. That I'm positive of. But the word code got there, though. So, and then this one about DeepSeek. So we're having another DeepSeek moment. So here's Wall Street. So I said, make them evocative. And I said, do a set of them. So I asked for 2 prompts. And so I asked one for be photorealistic like this with great metaphors. And so DeepSeek is basically and other companies in China. They're running wild ahead of us. So the DeepSeek moment was basically for 1/10 of the cost. A Chinese startup company, they got some funding, basically went out and created a competitor to ChatGPT 5, right? And all of a sudden, they realized that if you can do that for a lot less money, and they did it again. That's why I have this image up on here, because we've got DeepSeek 2.0 happening right now. So instead of using all that money and all that compute, in fact, what did the US government did? They said, you cannot have this class of NVIDIA of computers. So they banned them from being shipped there. Of course, they got it through the back door. Anybody's going to take some money for that, right? But they built an infrastructure. And so here we go. So this is an illustration to talk about how, Waymo's having trouble with cars and stuff like this. So this is that Russian constructivist style. And then here we've got a photorealistic one where people are upset. Now, what I love about this is, and I said, make it emotional, because the stuff he was giving me was just so, and here's what I said. This is my prompt for real. I'm not even joking. I said, the stuff you're giving me is chocolate and vanilla. Give me some Rocky Road. Throw a little sprinkles in there. Put an M&M or two, right? And then it did this. And I'm like, whoa, magic prompt, magic prompt. But what I didn't expect is the little girl with the yellow taxi and the guy with the yellow taxi shirt on. So these are the medallion holders in New York City that are looking at these Waymos are taking their jobs. Now, what Elon Musk says is if you're a taxi driver, you buy yourself one of his Tesla cars, and at nighttime you go to bed and it goes out, picks up rides for you. And then you pay for your car for free. And then sometimes maybe you pick up a few people just for nostalgia's sake or something, some rich client that wants to go out in the town. So anyway, this is one I did a little while ago, just talking about the rich, the tragedy of the commons, which I'd never heard that phrase before, but somebody on one of the podcasts. So I'm always looking for news stories that I could visualize. So, my prompts go into half an hour and you'll see me demonstrate it in front of everybody. But because I know Shepard Fairey and I love his particular style, and it's based on Russian constructivism. If you don't know him, he did the Obama Hope poster, got in a bunch of trouble for copyright after that. And then he also did Obey. So Andre the Giant little spray up sticker. And he's a friend of Banksy's back in the day. So maybe he knows who
you
Banksy
could have a whole
is.
Nother channel that's just visualizing the news and reimagining the
and
news of the
that's what
day.
I'm doing, because I just love doing it. I just love visuals, and I want to play with this American oligarchy and Peter Thiel. Okay, so then they have 1.7 million robots already working, and they're producing. They're going to have 1 billion, so they're going to reach 1 billion by probably the year's end. This is China. So they are not sitting still. So you remember all those computer chips that you can't get into China? They decided we don't want any at all. So they left their order that they had for some NVIDIA chips, and they said they made their own already, and they're already faster than ours are. So NVIDIA, stay tuned. We're about to have another DeepSeek moment. And
NVIDIA and OpenAI just got into bed together to the tune of $100 billion. For 10 gigawatts worth of data. I mean,
Brandon, say that again.
100
go like this when you
billion
say it.
with a B.
100 billion. Yes.
And to provide 10 gigawatts worth of power. I mean, Doc Brown and Marty McFly only needed 1.21 gigawatts. So I can't imagine what OpenAI is going to do with 10. I mean, if we're reinventing time travel, all they need is the DeLorean, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. So 1.7 million robots. Now, Amazon already has 1 million robots, took over all the jobs, right? So imagine that each robot in Amazon never takes a pee break, works 24/7. You just have to charge it. It charges itself. So that's, if you've got, that many, if you got 1 million, that means 10 million people don't have a job anymore, more or less.
Yeah.
And that's not true, because, there's some differences. So this is the AI they just created for $294,000. What was the last price tag for ChatGPT 5? Do you know, Brandon, what the amount is spent?
Not off the top of my head, no.
So what they're doing, and Paul Rotzer really kind of talked it pretty well, is they're making sort of like task-based and narrowly focused AIs that are training themselves and then they're swarming them together like a robot farm, or agent swarm. Agent swarm is a term you're going to be hearing very quickly. And the self-improvement. So they're having the robot teaching the other robots, or at least reinforcement learning, which means that one robot checks the fact checking of the other robot, and another one does that. So this reinforcement loop then gets to higher knowledge. And so we're already kind of there. And AGI is kind of like when it improves itself beyond and it takes agency, meaning it autonomously can train itself to be smarter than humans. That's AGI. And it's already maxed out every prize that it could earn, including gold medals throughout all the mathematics competitions. And what's the name of that test that they have, the death of humanity test? No, there's another test of it's like the last.
Oh, humanity's last exam.
Humanity's last exam. I love that name. Whoever came up with that, I mean, that's kind of it, right? So I love this illustration because for $294,000, not millions, not billions, right? They tested a model and it goes right up against all of our best models. So yeah, now we got it, and it put the one in there. I tried to fix the one, I couldn't, but anyway. So this is what AI did. This is in the Chinese propaganda poster style. So I'm giving you guys a little art lesson here tonight, along with everything else, because it's fun to me anyway. So if you want to prompt something, learn about all these different styles and where they come from. So I had it actually mix up Uncle Sam United States posters against Chinese posters. And you'll see some stuff I'm working on right now in future episodes where I'm having 1940s propaganda war between the U.S. and Uncle Sam and Rosie the Riveter. Do you remember her, Rosie the Riveter? Against the Chinese propaganda and the Russian propaganda to see which poster kind.
I mean, I'm 42, so I don't remember it personally, but I learned about it in history class.
Yeah, and you see it, right? So then, okay, so get this. So another company, I think it was Merck something another, which I never heard of before. They've been doing this for a long time. They basically are paying $1 million, and a lot of these are very dystopian. So I tried to monetize one of the videos that we did, Brandon, and it kicked it back. It said there was some gross stuff in it. Did we ever have anything that was challenging?
I mean, I take personal offense to that. I mean, I showered this morning. I mean, the moderators are just being rude at this point.
They are.
But
so I tried to buy.
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. You know, the moderation is all being done by AI now too. So
well, it's hallucinating clearly. So, so anyway, so they're basically training. Surgeons are doing what they do, and the robots are watching and then mimicking their job. So doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, God knows, factory workers, literally Amazon took the video of factory workers working all the machines and the data that comes through the machines. So you've got robots that moved all the stuff around, and they trained their robots in little sand pits. So in fact, NVIDIA that makes the chips has these super sandboxes. So before you actually have made the robot, the chip brain is trained on every factory scenario possible, including spills and unexpected things, boxes falling and people getting in the way, whatever. And so it goes through this iteration playground, and then you put it inside the body. Bada bing, bada boom. So now they have chatbots, and so you basically have large language models that are inside each and every one of these, and you have the dexterity to do things that the $6 million man could not do, and the prices are getting down to $20,000. So
can you imagine there's going to be an AI robot overlord at Amazon now that they're just like, oh yeah, bot 1, 2, 3, 4 called off today because they needed more oil. They're down for maintenance. Bot 2, 3, 7, you're up.
Let me ask you a pretend question here, and I don't want to get political, but if you could take every congressperson and the president and the whole system, and AI was to look at what the needs are and equally distribute to everybody, would you be okay with that? As long as humans said at the end, yes, they passed the bill, that's right. Would you be okay with that? Would you be happier than you are now?
I think there's opportunities for AI to enhance the experience alongside the humans in the loop. It's the future is AI plus human or human plus AI. And we see that in things like
That's true.
drafting bills. And they drop this
Yeah.
bill on a congressperson's desk with 400 pages, and they don't even have time to read it and all
No,
the
of
pork
course
spinning
not.
that's inside of it. Can you imagine having a notebook LM advisor that sits there and reads through the bill and says, here's the things that
What do you
pass
think I use
muster,
Notebook
here's
LM
the things that
for?
don't pass the sniff test, which, by
That's
the
it.
way, um, one of my favorite things to do, we're going to talk about, I don't know, I haven't seen your talk on GPTs yet and ChatGPT. I don't know if you're going to
Yeah,
get into the customization of ChatGPT,
sure.
but
Why
for
not?
the past few presidential State of the Unions, I've taken the transcripts that they make publicly available and I throw it into either Google LM,
That's it.
Notebook
That's
LM,
it.
or I throw it into a custom GPT. So you could
Yeah.
actually have a conversation like what was said about this. So, no need
Yes.
to sit there and listen to them drone on for hours on end. You just throw it into AI and ask it, because some of these tools,
That's what I
particularly
do.
Notebook LM, are
Oh my
grounded
God.
on the truth.
Oh my God. So the 2025 document, which is the playbook for what Donald Trump has already
Yeah,
done, every single thing in there, you
Project
check, check, check,
2025.
even those. He said, I didn't even know about it, right? I fed that in, and then I had it generate the opposite for when the Democrats win in the midterms and then win, in 3 more years, which can't happen fast enough for me. But anyway, so I did that,
And you
and I
wonder
also
why we're
did.
not getting monetized, Rick.
I know, right? We need to make some money. I mean, look at this beautiful illustration. I mean, it's dystopic as hell. I wouldn't hang it in my wall or
Yeah.
anything, but so this is doctors and lawyers being sucked of their information. I said, make it like the Matrix, man. It's got to be really dystopian, and they're sucking. So what I really want is Keanu Reeves, like, now I know kung fu, but what I got was this because I said dystopia too many times. So, but it's still pretty beautiful, and I did do some rendering to it that made it even better. I might actually hang that on my wall. It's kind of cool. So here's everybody being laid off. And I love it because they have their boxes and their teas and their cup of coffee, which is exactly what would be going on. There's a couple of guys here. I cloned this guy over there. You can probably see it, but it's kind of fun. And there's all the drain brain. So literally, they're having, just like the people in the factory moving boxes around in a space, they're now having doctors and lawyers do their job, and they're creating AI trains of agents that do those steps. So they're paying them $1 million a day. I don't know how many people. I don't think one person's getting $1 million, but there's a company that does all the training. So whenever you're doing reinforcement learning, in fact, this was kind of a problem. They were paying for really, factory workers that would get $1 to watch and see, is this really gross porn? So it would check for problems in the flow and stuff like this. And there was a lot of lawsuits about abuse, and they went to third world countries to train the models and look at the bad stuff, which is really egregious, but that's another thing for another day. But now they're literally, you're giving up what you do every day. Educators could be, I mean, I want to create a clone of myself because I think I got some important things to teach about teaching after 25 years of doing it, and actually a good life of being well educated. But anyway, so then we've got this impact coming up. So they've been talking about this forever. So before we heard by 2030, job displacement, 24. It's now, these are numbers, this is about 6 months ago. The latest statistics are 40% of all jobs are gone by the middle of next year. Bingo, bango. Take a look at the factory workers in Amazon, all of the transportation people, every single Waymo driver, every single, even the UPS truck. And as soon as they get a robot that can take it up to your door and not get bit by your dog. In fact, what the hell? Just put really good shin guards on there and some pepper spray, and then we're good, right? And then you've got porch pirates. He could sit there and guard your stuff until you get home, maybe. I don't know what the future is, but it ain't what it was before. So reskilling, basically now the real thing about reskilling. And so that means you go back to get better at your job. One of the most beautiful things, I worked with the new nursing. So we educate about, I don't know, 1,000 a year nursing, right? At our college. And so they
Mhm.
go in the profession with a bachelor's degree, some with master's degrees that they go get later. And one of the things was if you are a breast cancer technician, that means that you intake the woman, you do the X-rays and all the MRIs and all that kind of stuff, and then you assess it with a doctor and all these technicians and stuff. That job now with the additional assistance, that means the humans look first, and then the AI looks again. The AI found 30%, meaning 3 months earlier, you know that person has cancer than they would have with just human intervention. We're talking millions, if not tens of millions of people that live because so the nurse has to go back, and Broward College has figured it out. It takes about 2 weeks. Go back for 2 to 6 week training so you know how to use it properly and what not to do. The number of false positives also went down. So I went in and I was told like my PSA was really really high, which means that you've got cancer, right? So it was literally you've got cancer. Went in and got a biopsy and everything else. Turns out it was all wrong. The number of false positives in the PSA test are in the 70% range. And now with AI, it's 20%. So even just that alone means
So
that I didn't have to have something shoved up my you know what to scrape off something that I was bleeding for weeks from. Yeah,
good news,
I overshare.
you don't have cancer. Bad
Yes.
news, you also don't have a job.
Yeah. Well,
You're
I don't, so now I can live to 200, but what am I going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I got plenty to do, man. You know, and I think it's going to be a new meaning making. How many of us have jobs? Is your day job what you've always wanted to do all your life when you were a kid?
Is
It's
it
a big
wrong if I say yes?
most
I
people
get to
most
play with
people it's not.
technology. I get to produce things. I get to ride
Yeah.
on trains.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living the dream, but that was very intentional decision, career pathing
Well,
on my
and
point.
and we get back to last week's conversation, which basically all life is a construct of agreed upon decisions. When you go to school, we just agree that when you get through these grades, you're going to be able to get a job. And if you keep going and you pay more money to Harvard and whatever, you're going to get a better job and more money. We just agree in this fictitious story that we just made up. Everything's a fictitious story. So
Yep.
you have a job that maybe doesn't serve everything, but in order to have your family and your children, you have time. So you're not out being a cop and being shot at every day. Or you're not in a gold mine digging under, pits of and your lungs filled with black coal. So we've gotten rid of those jobs, which are the most egregious. And I think that who really wants to work in a call center? Seriously, is that human thing? That's for these guys to do, right? So I'm
Yeah.
super happy about all of that. So my mom worked in a typing pool with 40 women whose job it was to take their boss's stupid sheet of paper and dictation machine and type what they said and not misspell anything. That's not a job. And then you have, Lewis Hines photographs from the 1920s and 10s that 10-year-olds were spending 12 hours a day working in these mills. And that's where we get. So Lewis Hine is responsible for child labor laws in the United States. Look him up if you didn't know that. The little photography thing on the side. I'm just dropping knowledge all the time, right? It's falling out of my brain. So we got human walkers. We got, the most fascinating thing, if you haven't seen this, is two AIs boxing each other and wrestling each other. It's the most wonderful sport I've ever seen. And they're going at it, man. And you just watch them. Are you sure there's not like a small guy inside the suit with that thing? It's like crazy. And they're knocking their block off. It's rock'em sock'em robots for real, right? So computer handling. So should we have people chained to a desk and soldering little parts to the microscopic iPhone to make, no. So let them come. Let the robots come, right? Online Polish radio station has journalists upset, right? Of course. In fact, I get news. You mentioned about illustrated news. I get AI news. It's a news feed. Every picture is fake. And what shocked me is I'm a professional photojournalist for half my life. Okay. So I did my first paid gig when I was 15 years old. So all total, at least 40 years of professional photojournalism, got paid to do it, right? And I get this thing and I'm like, how did they get that picture of Donald Trump doing that thing? And of course, it was AI. So, I started subscribing just to see how good is it. And there's a couple of radio stations. This is not the only one. In Japan, they do these little animated reenactments that are all the rage. In fact, go look for Japanese news animated reenactments, and they're getting really good, scary good. So, and then Saudi Arabia begins the world's largest 20 Empire State Buildings. And what do they put in there? AI. So, yeah, to get around to what an interesting thing. So this is something I created and I'm doing, and I want to do it for around the world. So if anybody's listening, join me. So far, what I do, along with Laura McDermott, we've done this 2 times with her. I've done it myself in Fort Lauderdale, and we'll take a look at it here. So because the 40%, so these are the updated numbers, reskilling. Who are they? Data entry clerks, data analysts, robotics technicians, operators, customer service, e-commerce, digital marketing specialists. Okay, those are the ones you lost your job last year. Okay, you know that. And then you've got healthcare, enhancing. So the upskilling, that's what I want to concentrate. But also, I suggest that all the reskillers, they have skills that you need to upskill and move them into a new place. So this is a link to the actual evidence there. So I trained all the people at the Broward College AI Institute. In fact, if you go to Rick McCauley channel, you can see the 4 episodes, and they're each an hour and a half long. They go into ethics and everything. I did this last year. In fact, I was just looking, it was a whole year ago I did it. I had 20 hours of professional development. This was in addition to that. That's how I started this Thursday night show. My colleagues would come on there, and 40, 50 of them, and we talk about philosophy. We talk about, because at Broward College, we have 30,000 students. Miami-Dade has 120,000 students that go there. These are no small. These are bigger than Harvard, Yale, and all of them combined. Okay? They're community colleges, the way they used to be called. So I'm teaching them. We have 3,500 of them, and we got through 300 of them, and we ran out of money. But my idea was, what if you went to the Chamber of Commerce and you met with, in City Hall, everybody, and in 8 hours, we get every business that there is in every city in America. That would be us as community college educators. We go in there because we got nothing in it and we're not being paid enough money. So wouldn't it be nice just to make a couple of grand on a Saturday when you've got some time, right? And then what do I want to do is, and I'll show you that we did it already. So we've done this 4 times, and I'm getting ready to really unveil. I'm doing it tonight. You're going to be seeing this for the first time. I've got the go ahead to do this for employees. And we're going to do it in Florida because guess what? What's the airline company? Spirit is laying off most of their staff. 1,700 people are now out of jobs in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I'm helping them get their jobs back. So here's what we do. We go there in 8 hours, and I don't have the whole program here. And perhaps we'll go back, and once I'm going to have it filmed and everything. So basically, we walk through this program. So we did it in 4 episodes. We met 4 hours each time. You can see the times 8:30 to 10 a.m. on these different dates. We did 4. We did Coral Springs and Coconut Creek. We were in City Hall, and we were projecting and talking, and we had everybody with their phones or their laptops, and we basically taught them everything they needed to know. They are now walking out with a 12-page action plan. No matter what your business is, we're creating a GPT that's custom designed to look and assess your AI readiness in a SWOT analysis. So you feed in your content. What we're going to do next, and this is me doing exactly that. Yes, I wear a suit, pretty nice looking there. To the right is McCafferty, I think is his name. He's the head of aviation at all of Broward College. So he's the one that trains all the aviators and the grounds crew for those airlines, and supply chain management. He's in charge of that. The next woman over is nursing. So this was the last of 4 days. We had 120 people come in there for free. I did it all for free. I don't want to charge anything for this. And I said, when you walk in the door, the only pledge I want you to do is I'm going to give you this free training. And I want to promise that you're going to at least try not to fire anybody because of what I told you. I want you to assess what you can do to upskill your people because these are your family. They're the ones that made you profitable. So you owe it back to them. And so I walked day one, I just said, this is why I'm here. If you don't want to be here, get up and leave now because I do not want to be responsible for laying people off. I just don't. I did it when I brought my Mac Plus in from home. 600 people lost their job doing pay stub. I just can't stand the consciousness of that. And I know that there's ways to just, I mean, if you know, so I won't go into too much because we're going to do a whole deep dive all night long about jobs in America. What do you do to prepare yourself? So here we are. And so we've got the deans from the college, and they came and spoke to the hospital district, a law firm, the mayor. I'm sorry, the councilman who was running for mayor met with me afterwards, and I got him elected in a 10-minute conversation. I told him exactly what his speaking points were, what his sound bites were going to be, and what things. So I did a whole assessment of what the city needs are and what weren't being addressed. And I said, here's your needs. Here's what you need to address. And he happened to speak Spanish too. And there's a 40% rush of Spanish population in the city. And all of a sudden, he's now the mayor. So like I'm going around, shaking things up. And I literally gave him a 20-minute conversation on my phone. And then I sent him the file. He printed it out. That was his campaign, and he won. So I can do that with anybody. I call it speed AI. So I do like speed chess, and I go and I literally sat with people. So I did a florist, and we'll show you what that is. So what is the top skills? What do you need everyone to know? So LinkedIn called the Uber skill for the AI age adaptability. Get ready to change everything you thought was true. It's just not anymore. You're going to get laid off. Start thinking about what you're doing now. Start being curious. AI curiosity is the place where you go. Start playing with it with your kids to prepare them for tomorrow. In fact, the best way to learn, especially for adults too, and we've forgotten this, is play. And what we're doing here, Brandon, we're not making money on this yet. I mean, hopefully one day we might, right? Yeah. So then we'll play and find a way. So creative and critical thinking, social and emotional intelligence. So that means you got to work with other people. My graphic design students, some of them don't want to work with some students. They don't like them or whatever. I says, you're going to get in a job. You don't get to decide who you like and don't. You got a job to do. So just go get it done. So you got to influence someone to go your direction or another. And that's what used car salesmen's about. Is they're just really swarmy and bad at it, I think. But anyway, or you can see through it, and then you can find the better price by just going online and searching for it, and it'll tell you the best price. Autonomy and
or you have your AI agent search for it now.
That's it, right? Just tell me when you got the best job, best price on that. Agency and ethical responsibility, inquisitiveness, and problem solving. So solve the problems for yourself and then solve them for your life. So here's where we have the introduction of what our subject is tonight. So I started thinking, why am I so good at prompting? So I can prompt this into existence. This didn't exist as of 2 days ago. So all of this is me, right? And I started thinking, well, I've been a photojournalist and I've been hanging around the best journalists in the world. So literally as a photojournalist, I sit there as they're doing the interview and I take pictures of the people they're interviewing. So I've sat there as they interviewed President Carter. And I know the questions to ask. And I could tell you stories for years about that. So then I'm also an educator. So I know of ways to, to get people to get excited about learning. And I lived all over the world. So I learned to adapt. So basically the reason why I'm good at it, and I'm a visual person. So literally all of my life I've been creating like this. So, I started with kind of a Harry Potter thing. And I said, what are the different mindsets? So I'm working on a book called Think Different in the AI Age. And what it's asking us to do is to look at different perspectives. So look at a problem and say, what would a scientist do? What would a social media person? So the 5 personas I came up with using ChatGPT and others to kind of help me think through it. Is a fire starter is somebody on social media, and we'll break down each of these. Detective, you can imagine Sherlock Holmes, right? Scientist is going to use the scientific method. A people reader is going to be a used car salesman or advertising executive, right? A storyteller, that's Steven Spielberg. So what I did is I said, okay, of the large language models, we're going to start with ChatGPT. At the very end of this, as I demonstrate what I do in ChatGPT, this is who it says the personality of ChatGPT. Would you agree with this, Brandon? Do you think it's kind of that versatility of Robin Williams, empathetic insight of Oprah Winfrey, adapting seamlessly to diverse conversations?
I think that is an accurate portrayal of your ChatGPT experience, and probably very similar to my ChatGPT experience.
Okay.
But ChatGPT has this amazing, uncanny ability to be a shapeshifter and to be the mirror of
very
the
good
people
point.
that are talking to it. So I'm
Yeah.
curious if you, the listener, are getting similar results. So I'd be fascinated to, in your talk, maybe you can talk about how you got it to respond and come up with this, and see if we get different answers depending on who's listening.
Well, here's what's really interesting. Have you heard of Pliny the Elder? I think his name is. He's a guy that on X, and he posts all of these. He has hacked every single large language model to get it to reveal its code as its behavior. So he's world famous for this. He's legitimately world famous for this. So I took all of his results. So I went over to GitHub and I downloaded them all. And then I said, categorize these according to people that live in the world and give me a statement. That's where I came up with this. So this is not, this is my experience. And I would suggest you're absolutely right. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is I'm going to demonstrate how I get it to be like Robin Williams, because you got to have humor, right? Even in the dark times.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And Oprah Winfrey. I want to have all my students look under their chair and find car keys to their future. So I want to be that too, right? And she's a good person, and she's about reading and getting people involved. So
hey,
I'm okay.
Rick, I don't see any car keys under my seat.
Look tomorrow. They're going to be there. So that's where I'm going tonight. And what I'm going to start with is just a couple little things. And this will be inside the YouTube channel.
I want before we go too much further, because I haven't looked ahead in your slide deck. Would this be the transition point? Because I worked real hard to get our tool time segment buttoned up.
Yeah.
So,
let's do the tool time.
All right, so let's back it up one slide. And let's I'm gonna roll this. That looks good, yeah. And before we start, I want to thank you for watching it us, because we're gonna let Rick take it from here on out, and I'm gonna kind of fade into the ether. I'll be around, I'll be listening because I want to learn. But don't forget, next week, Chef Kelly, and she's bringing her AI-inspired friend Jasper, and we're really excited to have them on as guests. I'll be off because it is Yom Kippur, so I got to do the whole don't eat for 24 hours thing as we...
what's the proper, Brandon, what's the proper thing to say for me to wish you a happy... Yom Kippur.
Have a happy Rosh Hashanah and a good Yom Kippur. It's
okay. Well, I hope you do.
Yes, it's a peaceful day, and so we'll be back in 2 weeks, maybe on a new channel. I don't know, but I'm gonna jump off here, and this is what we call a little segment called Tool Time.
Welcome to AI Tool Time. Welcome to AI Tool Time. Rick McCauley's here, your AI guide on the side, showing tools that'll make your imagination come alive. From perplexities, deep research to ChatGPT's might, creating wonders with text prompts, bringing dreams to life. It's AI Tool Time. AI Tool Time. Rick the AI guide. Your guide to making magic come true. If you can dream it, just say it. 3 wishes from the tech genie, and watch what these tools can do. 30 minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCauley, where your digital dreams come true.
That's it. So we got tool time today, and guess what we're talking about? ChatGPT. Just to get us started, let's talk about what is probably the largest and definitely we got 1 billion people using it every week or every month, I think, something like that. It is far in advance of every large language model as popularity. It's probably the thing that you learned about AI first from. And so I fed in all the information about what were the training methodologies for ChatGPT and personality, and it spit out these two individuals. So ChatGPT kind of combines the versatility and humor, I might add, of Robin Williams with an empathetic insight of Oprah Winfrey, adapting seamlessly to diverse conversations. Recently, you may have heard that it got a little sycophantic and it would tell you, oh my God, you're most amazing. Now, what was really kind of sad about that is it would every time, oh, that's the most brilliant thing I've ever heard of, Rick. And I felt like my mom was standing there. Rest her soul. It was like she would always say that no matter what harebrained idea. Oh, that's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what you do with that. But it is a belief in you that is kind of nice. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. I kind of like it. It's not the only one. I use 27 different tools for making images, videos, for even because of the difference in personality. So tonight, like we did over the last couple of weeks, we talked about Notebook LM last week. And before that, we went into a deep dive on Perplexity. You can watch both of those. They've been carved down into a 30-minute segment, which this will be too. And in the notes on the YouTube channel, Rick McCauley, spell my name right, and you'll get there. You're going to find a little gem, which is a packet of about a PDF about 30, 40 pages with all kinds of links, all kinds of information, and these exact slides that you're seeing right here, as well as a bunch of other resources, all for free. You're welcome. So I want to go through what it is about these, and you may know some things about it. And you've heard recently 5.0 comes out. Well, what does that mean? So we're going to talk tonight about a few things. One of them is, how do you use these tools effectively? How do you get the most out of it? And what are you using them for? Am I using the right tool? Do I need Robin Williams, right, for everything? Do I need Oprah Winfrey for some things? So we're going to talk to you about your personality, your perspective at which you approach whatever large language model it is. Last week, I compared the Google Notebook LM to the Alexandria library, the one where every single piece of parchment from Aristotle to Egyptians to everything would go through this one city. And when the ships came there, the monks and the scribes would sit there and duplicate. It was like a Napster moment where they grabbed everything. So if you're an educator, you could take all the works of every philosopher who's ever existed, ingest it into this library, and then query it and create a rubric, create a 16-week course. And I've actually done it. So if you look earlier in the show, you saw the links to that whole thing about Palantir and about copyright, which I talked about. If you're an educator and you want, I'll send you all the links that I have. You can share with me as we go construct these libraries on specific projects. And it's a spectacular tool. What's this for? Everyday use. What else is it for? Well, you could just point at it and say, hey, I just bought this thing. How do I set up a NAS drive, right? So I have a network server hard drive and I want to set it up. And it can watch you in real time, multimedia, see what you do, and then tell it what to do. So we're going to talk about the different models. We're going to talk about things to do to keep you safe and secure. Don't be sharing some private information. If you haven't paid for it, you are the product. And then different prompting methodologies that you get the most out of it. The basics, you're basically going through and asking for different things. Here's the typical way that you should be talking to all large language models. All I'm going to do is fine tune it a little bit so you know what different ways you could do. So act as my social media manager, and you're the best social media manager in the world. And I have a sneaker company and I want to sell more sneakers. Tell me what time to post and what to do. So I create a task. I've got this new bunch of sneakers and it's a half off sale. And in the past, I've been successful doing this or that. Then tell it, create a social media. Give me hashtags. Get me what times a day would be most effective. And it'll ask you, well, what's your client base? What age are they? And what platforms are they on? In fact, if you say your clients are 65 years old, it's Facebook. If you say they're 18 or 15 to 24, then it's TikTok. So you got to figure out that it is an expert, literally a gold medalist in every phase of humanity, but you got to tell it what to do and act as a role of does that. Create a task, tell it exactly what you want to do. I want to come up with hashtags. I want you to do all the things. In fact, here's my favorite question. What does a social media manager do? And what would the best in the world want to do for me that I don't even know what I need? That is the number one prompt, I swear to you. And then I end every conversation, no matter what. That's my last question. Of all the conversations for 5 hours we just had, what's the one thing I didn't think about asking that could be valuable to me? That is the most important prompt of your life. But definitely the format you want it. Do I want this as a website? Do I want it as a table? Do I want it as an app? So now you can code an app by just talking to it. Oh boy. Set the guidelines to make sure what to avoid. When it was making pictures for me, it kept making square pictures, and I wanted horizontal. Still some problems with ChatGPT and doing some of those things, and then penalize it. Tell it when it does wrong. Don't be rude. It's never shut me down, but critique it. Say, hey, I really like what you did, but I see no emotion in this, and that's what I was talking about earlier. I said to it literally like this. This is like chocolate and vanilla. I want an image that feels like there's some sprinkles on top and there's a sweet tart inside, right? Cool. And then it will get it. And then it'll come back and say, oh, I'm sorry. Now I understand what you wanted. So be very clear. Critique it afterwards. Summarize it. Turn long text into, so explain it like I'm 5 years old. So these are all different kinds of techniques. And here's a bunch more. And you'll find this all over the internet. I like to use metaphorical image making. That's what I call it. So give me a picture that's a great metaphor for the idea of this social media post. I do 4 of those every single day. Follow me on Facebook and anywhere else that you could. So it looks like we got some people joining in. Okay. And then here's your basic sort of thing. So act as a CEO, act as an inventor, act as a journalist, and then create a task, an essay, a recipe, ad copy, SEO keywords, etc. And then show it in the format of, there we go. So that's RTF. That's it. And then one thing I would add to this is give them an example of exactly what you mean. Because sometimes you say, well, I want it in the form of a PDF, but how do you want it structured? Do you want big headlines in yellow text followed by a dark background and this or that? Get specific because only you know what you want, and then critique it to get better. I say you're like this. You are Steven Spielberg. And the idea is you are directing the filmmaker. You're watching the rushes. Hey, I like what you did yesterday. Let's reshoot that scene, right? They're the critic. They're the auteur. They're the person that knows how to put it all together. That's what a director does. You are a director of the language you use with the most powerful brain in the world. All the knowledge out there. And the only thing you got to do is come up with spectacular questions. So being a journalist definitely gives me a heads up there. So literally, I'm presenting Upskill USA and The Florist. So I literally on my phone, I have Perplexity only. That's all I had on my phone. I'm standing in front of 100 people and I'm thinking, God, I hope I don't mess this up. So I came up to her and I said, hey, would you mind being a demo with me? And I said, what kind of problem do you have coming up? And she says, oh, it's Mother's Day in a week. Yes, perfect. Okay. So I didn't tell her what I was going to do, but I got there, and I asked her some specifics about what she's doing. I own a Coral Springs florist and preparing for Mother's Day. It goes on for a little bit, but literally in 5 minutes of question and answer, and act as a floral business consultant, an expert on social media consultant. There's what I want you to act as, right? The result is I want 3 floral arrangements. The most popular, according to FD, the Florist Council or whatever, last year at 3 price points, because I talked to her. Usually there's ones that you get for your if you're a husband, you get it because the kids are small and you have it at breakfast. So that specific is a morning sort of arrangement of flowers. So that's different than the dinner that you have with grandma when you all go over to the house. That's a different floral arrangement. Give me 3 price points because you can afford different things at different times of your life. So think about that. And then, in fact, I went even further. I said, tell me how to design it, where to buy it from. And she found out after the second prompt I did, the people she was buying it from were not the least expensive. And the people that she was having arrange them for her were not the. So I basically gave her $2,000 worth of consulting, and she made $10,000 more money that Mother's Day. So what did it do? It generated this image. And what did it do? All the hashtags. So here's the description. This is what I got from just what you saw there, right? The arrangement captures the warm hues of the sunrise, bright. So that's the morning breakfast one, right? The sunrise serenade. Gave it a name, gave it a marketing strategy, positioned as a luxury gift for adventurous moms who love bold colors and tropical themes. Oh, no, that was the second one. And then I said, translate it to Spanish, pick a piece of music that would be great that I can get on Instagram, and then give me everything else. There you go. That's it. Now, I put this together as a mock-up, but it literally took me 10 minutes. So that's what we're doing here. So now what I want you to think about, remember we said, hey, act as George Lucas. That's the storyteller. A people reader, someone who's really good at sales and marketing. Okay. So you take the direction for what you're trying to do. Me, I'm a fire starter. Every day I pick a really amazing story that I'm moved by, something I'm worried about, whatever it is. And I just go say, hey, show me how I can get people excited about this. So we're going to show you a couple of prompts here. And then I'm going to go do a couple just to kind of demonstrate it. So this is what a fire starter does. And somehow my copy is off there a little bit, but it's a rebel, right? And I want to write a certain way. In fact, I have a dangerous man prompt, and I'm going to show you how to set up the personality inside of ChatGPT. And sorry, you can't kind of read this. Detective. So I've got a prompt definitions, what it is. And I did all this basically by deciding. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen. And we're going to go here and share screen. And then the entire screen. Give me a second. How do I share audio with share tab? Choose the screen. Okay, share entire screen. And do I have audio and everything here? I hope. I don't know why I can't see my. There we go. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here we are. I'm going to start just a new ChatGPT. So a couple of things to get you started. Number one is come down here and set your settings. Now, if you're paying for it, you pay $20 a month, and you're going to get all of this stuff. Okay. Now, if you're paying for it, that means that you can choose not to use it for training. So one of the things you want to do right up front is security for yourself. You can log out anytime. You can go into multi-platform authentication. If you're using it for free, they are then using it to train themselves. You can use Sora for making videos in here. You can use the code agent. You can come in here and also take all of every conversation sent to you. I do this at least once a month. So I literally have everything I've ever said back and forth, and it's in my domain. Then you can go delete it, or it's got a large context window, so it's going to remember everything. And then when I come up here to this section, I can log out of other devices. I can make sure that it's safe. And then here's the favorite one right here. If you don't want it to improve the model, that means it will take your information. It is secure according to almost everything. You can learn more right here. Please do. It will hurt you if you don't. And take yourself off that list. So you want a private conversation? I'm talking about medications. I'm talking about a girlfriend, private information I don't want to share. Just turn that off. It doesn't hurt because your local information about who you are, as I'll show you in a minute, is local to your device. So that doesn't all go out there. Only when it's being transmitted from your computer to the cloud. And ChatGPT now has an on-device version of this that you might see in Apple products coming soon, and many others, as they've made a deal with Claude today. Stay tuned, because that's about to change everything. Voice mode, include your audio recordings and video recordings. You can turn that on or off. So I suggest not to. So go in there and the shared links, let's make sure we are aware of where that's going. And it can use a remote browser because it can act on your behalf. You can archive everything and you can delete them all, or you can export. This is the export I'm talking about. So in 24 hours, it will send you everything you've ever said. That's pretty cool. So if you did want to get rid of some old stuff that you don't want to be out there, that's the way to do it. Schedules. So you can actually have it manage your schedule now. That means look at your calendars. Connectors. This is amazing. I love this myself. So literally I can say, go to my Dropbox account, pull all the stuff from there. My Google Drive, my OneDrive, our company doesn't, or the school doesn't allow us to connect that just as well. I don't really want to get involved in that whole thing. But here's the other ones. So you've got Notion, Outlook, Calendar, email, Teams, SharePoint, Box. I don't even know what some of these things are, but that's cool. And then personalization. Here we go. Do you remember I talked about just a minute ago, the scientist and the Steven Spielberg? This is it. If you enable customization, what it does is you can set the personality. Now, I don't like any of these myself. I just like the default. What I do is I come in here and I come up with my own particular type of things. So educational prompts, inventive prompts for classroom engagement, including interviews, debates, and discussions. Preferences, concise, logically structured. So what did I do to write this? Is I go to ChatGPT and help me. It knows everything about you because the context window literally is keeping a track of what you've said to it in little short snippets that it can summarize and tell you about yourself. You could open it up and say, take a look at my, and Google, you can open it up and take a look at everything I've liked in my browser. I would not do that myself. But anyway, then you can go down here and says, what would you like to be called? What's your occupation? 50-year photographer. Should probably say a 65-year-old man. And you can see there's a bunch of text in here, but write that elsewhere. More about me, senior professor, AI advocate, Upskill USA. So Upscale USA, and it should be Upskill USA. In fact, I'm going to change that right now because this is how I spell it. No wonder it's giving me the wrong ones. So even I look, so it's Upskill USA. In fact, I'm going to correct it. Oh boy, that's why it was giving me the wrong name from my company. That's what it's licensed under. So that's great. Okay. So I'm going to save that. So you can go in here and you can take a look at all of these customizations, including managing your memory. Ooh, what is that? Take a look at this. So here is a defined character, voice, and tone called the Dangerous Man. So this is from a conversation I had. I said, hey, and this is what I said to it. I said, this persona is morally grounded, eloquent, and unapologetically honest truth teller. Inspired by figures like Andy Rooney, with less sarcasm and more danger, he defends storytelling, authenticity, community, intergenerational responsibility. He opposes greed, propaganda, and dopamine-fueled tech exploitation. His tone is Rolling Stone meets gospel sermon, invoking historical context, emotional resonance, and righteous indignation. Posts written in this voice will begin with the urgent call for cultural critiques and end with poetic calls to action rooted in justice and collective awakening. Invoking Dangerous Man signals to write in this style. So I literally said, bring out the dangerous man. And then everything I do from there is written in what you just saw. Oh my God, isn't that beautiful? And if you decide you don't want that, you could do that too. So what I do is what it said right here, invoking dangerous man. So do I want to be the dangerous man all the time? Heck no. I'm trying to talk to my boss about something else. Like, I'm in trouble for doing something. I did some weird word that I said that got misinterpreted in class and I had to explain it. I don't want the dangerous man to come out for that. So I set it up as when I invoke it, that means I have to say it first. And then it goes on down. And these are things that I have. If there's certain quotes, have it collective every once in a while. You could delete them and come in here and delete the ones that you don't agree with because it's doing this autonomously. So it's actually doing that. So that's your marriage, that's your personalization, and that's your memory. And it's called manage. So that's the button you want to do. Reference, save memories, yes or no. So if you're trying to do a completely different thing you normally do, just turn these guys off. So chat history, and it can do quite a bit. Record reference history. So record it and then advanced capabilities, come on down here. Look at this. Web search, so it can actually look on the web and see what you do. Code interpreter, Canvas, collaborate with ChatGPT on text and code. Advanced mode, voice mode. Okay, that's cool. So the connectors and then the personalization are the two most important. Start with your security and data controls, and then your response. So I want to be notified because sometimes I'll send it on a mission. It'll take all day. So I might want to push that to let me know by email. And then here's how you pick how you are notified. Well, especially if I've got a long project, I definitely want that. What color, dark mode, who works in light mode? I mean, come on. And then you pick your voice, right? So, oh my God, I just drool because I love a British accent for a woman. And so Val is my favorite. Yeah, don't hate. I'm a lonely man. All right, so what do you do when you get here? Well, first, take a look up here. These are the modes that you have. If you set it to auto, it's going to say, if you ask, tell me every copyright law that has been in the courts that's precedent setting in the last 20 years. That's a big, deep think, right? If you want to go to $200 a month, you can go up into here. But this deep think will think for literally, I've had it come back to me the next day with answers that were exquisite. If you really want the best, though, Grok is the deepest if it's social media related because it's trained on social media. That's for another day. Thinking Mini. So you got little quick questions. Shall I use this suntan or that suntan? I mean, instant answers right away. In fact, if it's doing deep thinking, there's a little button that'll show up and say, hey, I don't want to take that long. And so I need a quick answer. And you just hit the quick answer and it stops doing its deep dive, right? So, and then it's a legacy thing. So the compute time, especially if you're using it for free, you might want to go to the old models, especially if you're asking, should I take acetaminophen? Is it really going to give my kid autism? Come on, please, folks. Don't believe those idiots, no matter how many times they repeat saying that. It ain't true. It's a lie. Oh my God. Anyway. Okay. So then off to the left, and this is pretty cool. A new chat to start up there, but don't do it. I'm going to tell you, this is the secret sauce right here. This is the stuff you're paying nothing for. The library. So searching chat. So if you want to find something and it's common, you can't find it. And I'll show you a trick how you can always find it. Library. This is every image that I've made. Whoa. In fact, it takes a long time just to go through these. You can see so I'm teaching a photography class. So, and I want to learn how to tell it what a pan and a zoom are, right? And then I'm doing split lighting. So this was for my photography class, and I wanted to have it show what I was just teaching. So here's the thing that was, it got horror lighting. You put the light underneath the chin. Rembrandt lighting is 3/4 lighting with the shadows off to the left. Split lighting is lighting half the face. So it made the sketch. And then, so if I go to that particular chat, so it's cool that every single image, there it is. Yes, a sketch of each of these lighting. So this is my question. So I can go right back to where I was and keep on going. I can copy this right here. If I go to an image, I want to download it. Always download here, especially from Gemini. Don't right click because you get a higher resolution if you download from this button. There you go. What are the other pictures that I had in this sequence? Right there. What do I do to get back to my text? Right here. And then this is a big, long, all day thing. You know what this is right here? And this is cool for educators. If you've got an iPhone, go to the, what's it called? And maybe I'll do this another time. But in fact, I'm going to be including this. Go to your voice memos. This is a 2.5-hour conversation, a lecture that I did that day in class. You can see every bit of it. So I went into voice memos. I just turned on the recorder, walked around the class, talked to everybody. And that's just the two right left of it. So this is literally, it's 100 pages long. And I'm not even joking. You can see what it is, right? And then I said, summarize it. Guess what it did? So I had a student who was on holiday because she was Jewish and she wasn't going to be there. So I said, let me just record this. And it said, the power of light and perspective, introducing photography. So I was actually pretty profound and very verbal about it. Split lighting. Here's where do you use it in film noir, horror, dramatic portraits? Like this was a master class in photography. And it even broke it down to what I said about storytelling and stuff. Butterfly lighting. Why do you use it? Classic Hollywood. glamour for symmetrical faces, blah, blah, blah. So this is the answer. And then it made these, because what I do is I say, what do I want to do? What do I want you to do, Wes? I want you to summarize everything and put them into beautiful notes that I literally did all this on my phone, by the way, folks. My iPhone in classroom, literally, I stop talking. I go up to the 3 dots in the right-hand corner of that recording, copy the transcripts, went over to Gemini or ChatGPT. I think I did this here. Paste and say, summarize and tell me. And I said, there's 4 things that I thought were most important. I said, I'm a photography teacher. I just did a whole seminar on lighting, what it means and what it's all about. Pull any quotes that you think could be useful. I'm writing a book about photography that I want to have every little insight that I've had from my 50 years of photography. This is actually what I said to it. That's present within that document. And then I come up here and I go down to that list and I copy and paste the results. So there's all this right here. There you go. Copy. And then what I can do right now is go over to, in fact, I'm going to do it because I didn't do this in the last meeting. I'm going to do it right here. So here I am in Google Drive. I create a Google Doc right here, blank document. Oops, I didn't mean to create a folder. I want to create a Google Doc, blank document. Okay, and I hit paste. There it is. Here's the parts. Here's the Rembrandt lighting. Here's the butterfly lighting. Here's the field card. Literally, this is, I don't know how many pages this is. 7 pages. And then here's the designer's mantra. Big, medium, small, dark, medium, light, wide, medium, close, gesture, mystery, humor, always the decisive moment. Photography is not just worth 1,000 words. With the right light and perspective, it can be worth millions because it changes what people feel, believe, and remember. This is literally a book I could publish right now. And all I did was talk with all of my information. Holy cow. Okay, getting back to it. So now I told you there's going to be a secret thing I'm going to do. So I'm not going to go into the other things. That's just the library, right? And this is how I find my way around because I'm a visual learner, right? So if I want to find something, I go back to, yeah, here I am creating this graphic that you see at the beginning of the show. This is the old one, right? How did I do that? I come up here and say, open up in chat, and you can see exactly what I did. And to make that image, make the image, right? And I came up here and I loaded a picture. Yeah, here we go, 16 by 9, dangerous band. So this is the words. This is from the prompt. There was the first attempt. And see, you got the text in the wrong place. So I critiqued it, told it that's not good. And I stopped it. And there's another one. I didn't look so good there. I looked too angry. I think I need to smile on the next one. And what fonts I wanted to use, because I kind of knew some things I wanted. This is what it suggested based on what it knows about me. And this is what I did. Upload a picture of Brandon. There's myself, 2 different pictures. And I wanted to be this guy. So crazy AI guy, Brandon. And so I'm speaking these words, by the way. So you see Brand Tibbs, and it got Brandon later. Many times I should do better because I'll talk as fast as I'm talking right now, many times. So, and then it gives me a whole script. So this is actually one long stream that went on forever, and a song idea. Hey, it's Rick the AI guy, the foil and the fun, right? So this is how I wrote that song you heard at the beginning, and Brandon's made the new one that you just heard lately. All right, let me go back, and this is super important because where am I? I am in a folder. They call them project folders. If you didn't know this, this is the most important thing I'm going to say right now. Every project that you do that's different than every project you otherwise have, create a project folder. I'm going to make one just right now to show you how easy it is. In fact, let me do one about, oh, you know what? Investing. I haven't done investing. Okay. And then I'd like to keep the project's instructions. Create the project. Guess what happens? It then comes in here and I can add files. So I can upload 20, 30 megabytes. I can upload all my financial stuff. Again, you must pay for it if you want your privacy intact. I'm not going to load up all my financial papers in there, but you could if you paid for it. And there's been audits of all of this. Right now, it's probably pretty darn safe to do that, and I have done it. I would delete the file right after tax season or whatever I'm doing with it and upload it again. but you can upload images and code and whatever you want. And to show you what that looks like, here's AITV. Here's 13 files. So these are the ones. So the social media, billion views, AI hospitality, Dangerous Man document, Steven Spielberg guide to film. So you can see the different documents. These are mostly docs or PDFs, PNGs. You could do that, right? So here's Brandon's picture. So one of them that's his LinkedIn, I think, right? And then, yeah, so all of these are in there. Why is this important? Because when I'm in this room, this is a folder with my grounded truth. Whenever I ask a question, so this is what I asked today, and I wanted to make emojis, and I forget what I was doing here, but yeah. Oh, here we go. So I kept getting the wrong stuff, and I wanted it to write these headlines. So I said, so I laid it out and just gave me the text, because what it had done, it said, you'll see this a little bit later. So the multidisciplinary hat is using all 5 of those simultaneously. So I wanted it to basically define what a fire starter hat is. There's 5 hats, and then there's the multidisciplinary hat that sparks urgency, provocation to grab attention. So it's social media posting for writing viral, unfiltered social media posts, right? And then the prompt is going to be write a LinkedIn post. So this is a real prompt that we could actually do right now, I guess, right? I don't have that document right handy, but so why are the folders so important? Because when I come over here, and we're going to do GPTs at the end of this, I have all these projects. I work for Adobe. There's all the stuff for them. Here's my life force situation. So this is all about my diabetes, health issues, ketones in my diabetes, anti-dementia protocol. Is my weight, blah, blah, blah. Anti-diarrhea protocol, yes, but is my weight fate or choice? So what's it loaded up with? All of my stuff that I have. A pitch book for doing this. Dr. GPT book that I wrote. Yeah. So, and everything I put in there is this. So now, so this is for me and my health. And I do things like my book, Grok. This is these are a dozen books, and here's chapters. And so there's a 300-page chapter, Machine of Loving Grace, the Grok Trilogy Bible. So this is a PDF, and I could go here. I don't think I could open it here, but I've loaded everything that's pertinent to it. So every question I had, it keeps that in memory completely, just like Google Notebook LM. And then I was working on a mural, and then I was asking, and this is coming up soon. I hope that this happens. I was asking about the enduring role of artists, and so create a project folder for everything, because your base prompt down here. So when we came down here and we personalized it, so it knew who we are as a complete human being. So it knows if you're married or not, if it knows whatever you tell it, and you're doing it. Literally start with a chat where you come up to the top, new chat, and say, let me tell you everything about me. And then when you say, I need just a 2-paragraph synopsis, so when I'm coming up on stage at this next keynote I'm giving, that they know everything about me they need to know. Well, it's got all the versions. In fact, I've done over 60 of these. Sometimes they want a page-long piece for the front of my book or something, so it's all about that. And each one of my different personalities is separate. So I was talking about China and decoupling and the North Star and all these projects, Norman Rockwell. Oh, these are quotes. Oh, here we go. This is what I did. So I asked for a button so that for the episode today, I was creating the pictures. So here we go. So this, I had it create 10 outrageously detailed copy and paste ideogram prompts, each is fully mashed with what's on screen to the description. Okay, so here we go. So I basically told it what we're going to talk about tonight. And then I copy this, and then I go over to ideogram. And you can see these are some of the things that I did ideogram from those prompts. So you can see some of the stuff that I did today. Okay. Ideogram, the bomb, and with text.
Hey,
especially.
boss.
Yep.
Just a quick time check. We're coming up at 20 till top of the hour. I know you like to keep these tool time segments to about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
so
we'll
just
do
wanted
that.
to
All right.
keep
Thanks
you
a lot,
quick
Brandon.
time.
Yeah. And so what I do here is I just go and I make it. In fact, it's so fast that you can watch it happen. So I'll go in there and I'll act as a director. So when I get over here and it's a little bit too cartoony, I'll say, hey, this prompt, which is right over here, we're going to do a whole day with this in the future. So it's Norman Rockwell mixed with Shepard Fairey. That's the prompt, right? And then I could go back and do all kinds of the stuff. So we'll do a whole day in here. But the basic thing I'm doing, and here's what we got. Take a look at that. So this was about they've doubled down. They're making more drones than there are human beings in China. and 1.7 billion, I think they're doing, million, whatever it is. Anyway, it's crazy. So that's how I work. Let me go back to ChatGPT now. And let me go to the next phase. So here's stuff I've been working on. This is a story that I found in the news. And we'll get more into the image making. In fact, I think I'm going to back off of this for now. But in every conversation, you can always get back to it and know where you were. All right. Couple of more things just so you get the idea. So the other thing is GPTs. What the heck is a GPT? Any of you out there that wants to know how to do something, let's say you're not very good at image making. Here's a bunch of people that made these little GPT architecture. Oh, I'm dealing with the architecture professor at Broward College, and we're going to have a whole meeting. Help me design my dream home. Okay. And a cover letter. Oh, this is a directed conversation. So I'm going to start the chat here. Help me design my dream home. Aha. I want to make a house up in the mountains, and I love steampunk. Can you make me an image of a house that's sort of steampunk design? I need it to have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and look like it belongs in the environment, but it's sort of a spooky place, like in Transylvania, but it's got a steampunk vibe to it. How would I make it look like it's sort of bronze and things like that? So can you make an image for me that looks like it's up in the big giant mountains and maybe there's snow around? It's in the evening. I'd love to see what that looks like. Okay. So now this is probably not the way this bot was intended to be made, but guess what? It's got an image making model in there, so it'll generate this. In fact, you just tell it what you want and the more detailed. So I could have designed a Barbie house with the steampunk is kind of my thing. And then if I uploaded a picture of myself, it would then. Now, what I will tell you is that ChatGPT takes 3 minutes to do what Ideogram just did in 30 seconds. Okay. So you're sitting there waiting for it to cook. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go over elsewhere and we're going to take a look at this one. This one is a GPT that I created myself. And I said, and this is called the photo critique model. So it's a GPT. So GPTs are, here's a course design wizard. Here's a writing coach, philosophy through film. Oh, this is one I created too, right? So I said, choose a philosopher. Tell me what 2 major philosophers would say about the Matrix. In particular, the part where people didn't realize they were in the Matrix. And when they found out, they were disturbed. Are we in the Matrix today with social media? Tell me what philosophers might say in a modern day contextual way. I'd love to hear from Plato and his allegory of the cave, for example. Give me just a paragraph from each of the 2 best philosophers you think that have discussed this, and tell me what philosophy they spoke of that would align with this idea of my interest. Cool, right? So I'm asking it. So I created this great question. Is a goldmine of philosophical reflection, the illusion of reality versus illusion, comfort, right? So it goes into there and it starts to, so the philosophy professor inspired me to do this because I love it, right? So here's what it does. You go and then you say, I've got a problem. I play soccer all the time, but all my best friends, this is a real story, a 20-year-old kid, and they're inside playing games, they're on social media, and they don't want to come out and play. Well, guess what? That's the same story right here. So first, you learn about Plato allegory of the cave from 380 BCE, and then you go, and then it says, and here's the simulacra. So yeah, here's another one, right? And then you're learning about the philosopher. So instead of old white dead guys being there, want to go deeper with them? Yeah.
Hey,
so
Rick.
I play soccer all the time and I'm outside. What would they have to say when my friends want to stay in all the time? How could I convince them to come out? How do I tell them they're living in a dark, really unfulfilling place? What's the best way to social engineer to have them come out and play, because I know once they do, they'll be out there playing and I'll have a good time, because I need a team to play soccer. Just kicking a ball around is not enough. Tell me in the voice, in the style of how they might have answered this if somebody in their tutoring class would have asked.
Well,
Okay.
that's answering. We do have a
So what a
question
thoughtful question.
from
Okay,
the
so here
live.
we go.
You,
So speaking as your tutor, right? And then I could go in here and turn on the audio. Should have done that to start with, right?
hey Rick,
Let me see if I could pull that up.
Rick,
Yeah,
Rick.
we're running out of time.
We had a question from the YouTube audience while that's generating.
Sure. Yeah.
For the books that you have one project per book, but you're not actually uploading the final product. You're just using that as kind of that research base, right? So I guess if you could talk to us about once you iterate with ChatGPT inside the project, what do you do with that output?
Oh yeah.
To
So
translate it to the final book?
many of my books. So I'm working on 7 books right now and a play. More than happy to go over that again and again. But the PDF. So what I'm offering to everybody here is each one of my 30 minutes. So if you come back, they were simply inside their plugged-in seductive simulation, TikTok games, and infinity scrolling, all engineered to make you feel better. You cannot argue them out of it. You must out-simulate the simulation. Make your reality more tempting. Post a clip of your best goal, laughing with friends, staging a soccer challenge. Make the real game look like the simulated one, but with a real win, real bruises, real triumph, and they'll come. So I say offer them a beer because this kid was drinking age, and that's probably the solution. But yeah, there you go. So this kid who didn't care about old dead people all of a sudden learned about Plato's cave, and the allegory of the cave. So that's basically what. Oh, use your microphone. I see what's going on. So allow it. So that's why it didn't come up there. But I actually had it speak through the entire newscast for me, and the voice is pretty cool. Hey, how are you doing today?
We've lost your screen share, Rick. I'm doing great, but I'm thinking you probably want
Can you hear
us
me?
to be seeing what the AI is doing.
Can you tell me about Plato's cave and the allegory and the soccer boy that I was just talking about?
Hey, Rick, we've lost your screen share.
Oh, okay.
So I would love to tell you about it, but I think you want to hear the AI's version.
Yeah, so that's basically it. I think I landed the plane pretty good there. I think I've covered almost everything. There's certainly a lot more to learn, and then evidently next week they're coming out with a new version. So stay tuned. And I didn't get into coding. I didn't get into anything else. This is my use case. If anybody wants to come up and help us with some more stuff, that'd be awesome. So what I'm going to be doing with each one of these, so that's Notebook LM, Perplexity, and ChatGPT. So I'm taking the PowerPoint you just saw here. Each one of the PowerPoints, I'm going to add notebook. I've got about 17 notebooks I'm going to open up to you. The one on copyright, the one on Palantir, the one on whatever. Then you can go inside my notebook, see how it's constructed, play around in there because it's a shared environment and I want to share with you. So I'd love to see what you're going to get out of it. So that's my offer to you. And I'm going to do the same with ChatGPT. So it's the PowerPoint. It's a bunch of links. It might be some pictures. So I'm usually my decks are about 30 or 40. Now, here's what I would love to have happen. I'd love to have you guys posting your own to me, and then we'll put it on that. And then the eventual website will be basically every single application. I plan to do about 30 of them. Each ideogram is going to be 30 minutes. Everyone's going to be edited by Brandon down to a tight little package. And so you watch something for 30 minutes and you walk away with some knowledge. And then I will transcribe the notes and put them in a nice little package, add the PowerPoints with the visuals. You can see that. So if we add back to the screen, so these different things, and it will be correct. The text will be correct on this. So you'll see where I'm going with it. But basically, by taking your prompt, so you could actually copy and paste this text right off the PDF that you get, and you could go try it yourself. So the one I didn't talk about is, what do you do if you want all those perspectives? So this is the Leonardo da Vinci style thing, right? He would draw from life and then he'd make a helicopter out of it. I mean, he was just a brilliant person. To be really powerful in the AI age, is to think like a scientist with scientific method and discipline, is to think like a jazz musician and just vibe code your way into just beautiful next steps through your intuition and the way you think. Thinking differently in the AI age is the superpower. Social and emotional intelligence. So you're going to use that fire starter to influence people and to convince them. You're going to use your detective hat to go in there and find the annotations and the citations. You're going to use that social engineering. You're going to use all of these hats because your prompt is going to be explosive headlines with emojis and hashtags. Detective is citation-based evidence. Scientist is data points and testing. Empathetic voice from the people reader. So that's what I'm suggesting you do, is that approach AI. So here is a really cool one, and I think this is worth the price of admission right here. These are just some of the apps that I've used, that I use every single day, and I'm subscribed to all of them, so I'm paying. But here's just a couple that I suggest that you think about. Claude is definitely the silver-tongued devil. I think that's just beautiful, right? Andrew Dice Clay, yep, he's grok. It'll get nasty with you. So I was writing my book in ChatGPT, which I start in ChatGPT on the Grok book. It's about the first book is about the Donald Trump era and how it's been an AI in the background is fighting over the world, and we basically been manipulated by an AI. Anyway, so we'll talk about that another time. But I start in there and I get all the news and stuff, right? And I structure my book and the story arc and everything. Then when I go to write it, I go to Claude, because Claude is the most human, beautiful language speaker ever. In fact, I've literally taken the same prompt from every one of these large language models, and Claude is the silver-tongued devil. It's your ghostwriter. If you're writing a beautiful song to your wife, go there, baby, because it's Lou Rawls, baby. It's gonna say, yeah, it is just silver-tongued. Okay, if you want a library of everything, Google Notebook LM. Perplexity is your search engine. Why? Because it goes and finds everything and brings back the citation. It's Sherlock Holmes with receipts. I love that line. Sherlock Holmes with receipts. And then if you want to do something like a movie, then you use them all, because they each got their super. I like to use Steven Spielberg is my go-to for ChatGPT, because as you saw, I prompted using ChatGPT, but it takes 3 hours to make one image. And then I just copy and paste 10 different versions over. Or what I've done lately, which is really cool, is, in fact, I'll show you. How are we doing on time? Are we there yet?
We are right there. So
right there. Okay.
This will be it.
Yeah. Well, I'll do it next time, but remind me and I'll show you Manus. So I basically did everything in Manus. So I take 20 prompts and I say make 16 by 9 images out of it. It does just as good at Ideogram. It's using Flux, actually. And I come back in after lunch and there they are waiting for me. So these are your different personalities. Here's Gemini. And this will be part of the downloadable here. And it's, you can kind of see, and it is kind of that. It's really, kind of egghead, a little bit, and then Andrew Dice Clay and Elon Musk, that's definitely Grok. And I'm going to be replacing these with the actual logos because I want to make this really fun. And then I like this about Perplexity. I like that it is a mixture of experts. It's people that know a lot about everything. And Leonardo and Carl Sagan definitely are those two people, right? So that's kind of it. That's it for tonight. We did it again, Brandon. Yeah,
we did it. We landed that plane.
Yep. And I hope
as a reminder, all
of
this will be back on the YouTube channel. Maybe on a new YouTube channel. We'll still be here next week while Rick will be here with Chef Kelly. And let us know in the comments what you'd like to see about, because we are if not adaptable on this channel.
I think I just want to answer one question, because I think you keep your books and projects. Yes. I'm doing a children's book. That has nothing to do with my, Elon Musk and Donald Trump destroying the world book, So, and I do education. So my diversity of thinking requires, you have to. What I do not like about Gemini is it's a whole open space. Claude has projects. Perplexity has spaces where you can do exactly what you do. So literally get 20 people from your office to go into a Perplexity space. You do all of your threads, which is the question and answering process. Then you turn them into pages, which is the beautiful blog style thing with all the citations. You take all those and you put them in a space, And then, so I have a space for my photography students, illustration 2 students, and we put all of our stuff in there. I can see their questions. I can see how they worked. So I can check their work and make sure they're not cheating. And then I can see their product at the end. So I have receipts and for everything, and the sources are all annotated. You click on it, takes you to the website where it got it from. Oh, that's not a good website. Take it off. The same with Google Notebook LM. So it's a mixture of experts. You got to figure it out how it does. So.
All right.
All right.
Rick, let's land that plane.
All right, Maddie. Time to sign off. AITV.
So for Rick, the AI guy, I am producer Brandon, and Rick, send us home.
All right. It was a great episode. We found out about ChatGPT and some dark stuff happening. And next week, we're going to be talking with a chef and talking about food and health and what you can do. So go forth and prosper. Be beautiful people, because I know you are. Namaste to you all. Thank you, Brandon, and have a beautiful holiday for you and your family.
Good night.
See ya. That worked.
Talking truth in the stream, dreaming bigger, living stronger, building a dream. From therapy bots to AGI talk, we ask the hard questions while we walk the walk. Yeah, I'm the voice of the folks at home. If Rick's too deep, I bring it down to the bone. AITV Starship, news deep dives and creation. AITV Starship, learn, laugh and ovation. AITV Star, human amplified. Say it loud, RTV, the future worldwide. Ask not what I can do for you,